Have you ever gotten a prophetic word and you're like, yes, God says I am going to have this, or this is going to happen to me. And you're like 7 years later and it still hasn't come to pass. And you're like, false prophet. You're having all these emotions about people. Well, listen, I completely understand. I have so many prophetic words that I have received over the years that still has yet to come to pass. And today I just want to walk you through how I process it. Welcome back to another episode of the You, Me, and Jesus podcast. Today, we're talking about prophetic words and when they don't come to pass. Because, listen, I don't know about you guys, but I'm doing a deep exhale because I've got a lot of prophetic words and I'm just like, where are you, God? It's thou, me, Margaret. Remember that book from back in the 80s, where are you, God? Where are you, God? It's me, Margaret. I can't remember this. I think it's the name of the book. So I have these moments with God when I'm just like, where are you? I thought you said that this was going to happen. And I thought you said that this was going to happen. Honestly, sometimes I just get very, very angry and frustrated, but I also just have to bring myself back down to earth, because some of these words that I got came from people that said whatever it was they said whatever it was that they felt like God was saying, and he could or could not have been saying it, right? I'll give you an example. So one time somebody asked me to come out to whatever town it was. I flew out there and they had a bunch of people. They were at their house and they were praying and laying hands and prophesying. And while I'm sitting there, they just kind of start prophesying over me. Well, the person did. And she's prophesying all this stuff. And I'm recording all this stuff that she's saying. And some of it just seems really far-fetched. But I was kind of because it had dates and all this stuff on it. I was like, wow, this person is so accurate. That time and come and went. Do you hear what I'm saying? It was you're going to meet a man and you're going to meet him July of next year. And you guys are going to have these kids. And I was like, wait. Now this was after I got divorced. So I'm I could see if she was prophesying right around that time when I was dating my ex or whatever, but I believed it, and those things did not come to pass. That doesn't mean I won't meet anybody. It just meant that she said specifics, date, time, and all that didn't happen. But also I have had other prophetic words. I had a girl come to me and she said that God says that your business is about to explode this summer. And I was like, I don't even see the possibility of that. And kaboom, my business exploded that summer. And so that was super accurate and it came to pass. But what do we do when we have these words and we feel like we got them and we feel like they were confirmed and they were hard confirmations? You may have had a dream or a vision and you're you really, really know that that you heard God about it. But what do we do with it? My honest answer is, I don't know. What do we do when a word has not come to pass? That is the answer that I feel like I potentially have. And I'll just kind of share me and what I'm doing with the words that I've received and that have not come to pass yet. One of the words that I have received has been in regards to remarriage. And not to say that I was ready to remarry as soon as I left my ex. I mean, no, I wanted to go on a healing journey. I just did. But we're going on 8 years now since I've been divorced or whatever. And I have watched all these people, get married, get divorced, get remarried, get redivorced, get married again. And I'm just that's a whole lot of people. It's, what's going on? As I find myself in the comparison game of why is it happening for them? Why everybody proposing to them and all this stuff? What I have and am continuously processing is, okay, here's what God has said. Here is where I am. And in the middle, I don't even see how the left and the right are going to meet. Let's just talk about the remarriage part. What I have been doing and processing and saying to myself is, every time that I walk through a different stage in my life, I am okay, would this have been better by myself or better or easier or harder or whatever with someone? So for example, I was for years focusing on getting, making my credit better. Because for the longest time, I just had super bad credit. I mean, just super, super, super bad credit. A couple months ago, I was looking at my credit score and I was like, oh, wow, look at my credit score. Go Keenya, go you. And I said to myself, would I have loved to have gone through this process with someone or without them? And I was I'm really glad I did this without them, because it's kind of embarrassing, when you have super bad credit because of your own choices. You know what I mean? I'm whew, that's embarrassing. I would tell a dude whatever, you know what I mean? But it was certain things I can unpack in myself, And then when I think about like my healing journey that I've been on, healing like from divorce, healing my childhood and all that. And I think about some of the really hard times that I've had in therapy for weeks and months coming out of that. I'm like, am I healing better without a person, or would it have been better with a person? And my honest thing is without them, because there's nobody in my house. I can cry and wail and be angry and be whatever, and there's nobody there that can hear or be ashamed. It's like, I can do this, Right now, I'm navigating the health journey of like the fibroids on my uterus and the cyst on my ovaries. As I'm navigating that right now, I am saying to myself, am I glad that I'm doing this without a significant other, or would I have rather done this with a significant other? I have two feelings. One feeling is I would love to have had somebody to just be there with me with each appointment, that I can be when I have the surgery, just can be there with me through this journey or whatever. But also the part of me is like, but I would love to have like already gone through the journey, been in the healing physical process, and then meet somebody and be able to whatever, like there's a part of me that's like, I would rather have gone through this painful journey or whatever, not in a relationship. The only person I have to think about is me. I have to think about him. It's me and my cats, but that's it. And then when I think about what God has told me about like finances and my influence, and I'm like, all right, it all sounds good and whatever, but I'm like, am I glad God didn't give me $10 million in my checking account today? Possibly. Part of me is like, hey, if I had $10 million in my accounts, I could have all the different people that I want to have on my company and all this different stuff, right? But also with $10 million, there comes $10 million of business knowledge, experience, and understanding of taxes, and working with the right people and having a level of understanding of all these things. The optimistic side of me is like, there's these words that God has given me, and he has invited me on a journey of like, can you trust me? Sometimes I'm like, no, I don't trust you. I'm laughing, but I'm being serious. Sometimes I'm like, no, I don't trust you. I don't trust you with this. I have been believing and trusting and just not coming through. I just don't. And then sometimes I'm like, I do trust you. You have proven this and this and this and this and this. You have proven trustworthy. So I need to be able to believe that you can be trusted with this. What do you do when you've got a prophetic word and it still hasn't come to pass yet? The religious answer would be trust God, which is, it's biblical, but my empathetic heart says talk to God. Yeah, because it's easy to trust him when it's something you've already seen before. Because a lot of times we have these prophetic words of things we have not seen before, big things or whatever, things we really, really hope for. When it's that big and it's taken forever to come to pass, it's really, really hard to trust. What I have been doing, what I am doing is I'm talking to him. So when I'm like, oh, God, I need you to heal my body from what I'm dealing with, and the way I want you to heal me, God, I am believing and saving myself from remarriage and and I just have to like talk to him. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I have been on this journey of like mastering friendship with God. When I think about what does that look like, friendship with God for me is being able to tell him what I'm thinking, no matter what it is, and no matter how many times I've told him. So like my best friend, if she comes to me with a situation and she's come to me about it multiple times, that's my best friend. And we always talk about it together. As long as it's not annoying the crap out of me or whatever, we will continuously talk about it because that's my friend. And so when I think about it with God, I'm always like, okay, if he's my best friend, much better than my best friend, then that means I can talk to him about all of this. And he is not annoyed with me that I keep coming to him with it, that he is actually happy that I'm coming to him with it, because it's not like we're not just friends, like he's God the Father. And so fathers don't typically get like highly annoyed that we keep coming to them. Fathers typically are just like, I'm glad you're coming. Like, I'm glad we're talking. I'm glad I'm the one that you're coming to, That's my answer. When you have a word that has yet to come to pass, yes, trust God. but talk to him, get his perspective, get his mindset on it, get his vision for it. Ask him, what is it that he wants you to know about that word that you don't know? Ask him, is there anything you need to be doing that continues the journey of that word? Right. So me not getting remarried to somebody random just to say that I'm married is the continuation of having a good husband, a good marriage. Right. So that's I got to stay on that journey in that. Right. And stay close to God. Right. And not just be willy nilly doing whatever it is I want to do. That's it for this episode. I know it's short, but I hope you found it valuable. We're all navigating our relationship with God, and we're navigating it together. We're navigating it here together on this podcast and on this show. So thanks for listening, and thanks so much for watching. So if you love the You, Me, and Jesus podcast, make sure you go to all the podcast players so you can listen to the podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play.